This is the morning of the 1st of December. I just spent 15 minutes on part 2 and it crashed. Gonna do it again. Sick bet. Have a listen.
He said he would handle it. He said no one would find out. And that is exactly where the story stops pretending to be messy and becomes something much darker. He said no one would find out. That single blurry message, 7 words, 1 screenshot, 0 context, was enough to shove this scandal straight off the cliff it was already dangling from. Because no one accidentally writes a sentence like that. No widow types that line casually while talking about groceries or grief counseling. And nobody, especially a woman 2 weeks away from her husband's death anniversary, says he said he would handle it, unless something is being hidden with both hands, both feet, and a prayer. The internet saw the screenshot and lost its collective mind. If part 1 was chaos, this was carnage. TikTok detectives stitched the message into every theory. Reddit threads hit 30,000 comments in hours. Twitter turned into a battlefield. Everyone demanded to know the same thing. Who is he and what exactly was he supposed to handle? People tried to argue maybe it was Charlie. Maybe Erika was talking about something unrelated. But then the timeline slapped everyone across the face. Charlie had been dead for 10 weeks. Erika announced an 8-week pregnancy. And the message looked recent. There was no world, no universe, no alternate dimension where Charlie was texting her from beyond the grave saying he'd handle a situation. The only living he in this scandal with enough power to handle anything was JD Vance. And the internet knew it instantly. It was like watching dominoes fall in perfect formation. He meant JD. Handle it meant cover it. And no one would find out meant exactly what everyone was terrified to admit. The pregnancy wasn't an accident. It was a secret that was never supposed to reach daylight. Within hours of the message leaking, reporters swarmed the Vance residence. Cameras lined the sidewalks. Neighbors were interviewed like witnesses in a murder case. One neighbor said Usha hadn't slept in 2 days. Another said she heard something shatter inside the house late at night. Another claimed the kids were sent to relatives. And through it all, the house stayed dark. Curtains closed. No lights. No movement. The silence wasn't normal. It was the kind of silence that happens when the truth is too loud to speak. Meanwhile, Erika resurfaced online, but not with a denial, not with an explanation, not even with a fake motivational quote like politicians' spouses love to post when they're drowning in scandals. No. She posted a photo, a black and white picture of her hand holding a tiny silver cross. No caption, no context, just vague religious symbolism that felt more like a confession and less like comfort. The comments exploded. Some people called her brave. Some called her manipulative. Some accused her of playing holy victim while hiding the truth. One comment with 80,000 likes said, "When people start posting crosses instead of answers, you know they're guilty." But while Erika played cryptic Instagram influencer, Usha was completely missing. The wife of the Vice President of the United States had vanished from the public eye like she fell through a trapdoor. And every passing hour made her disappearance look more like confirmation. Because if your husband didn't cheat, if the widow isn't pregnant with his child, if the timeline is fake, if the rumor is nonsense, you'd be angry. Loud. Defensive. Present. But Usha wasn't angry. She wasn't present. She was gone. The internet started demanding answers. Where's USHA? Trended for 14 hours straight. People posted maps, timelines, speculations. Then someone leaked something even worse. Claims from a staffer that Usha had been sleeping in a guest room for 3 nights and wasn't speaking to JD at all. Another staffer said they overheard her saying, "I can't fix something I didn't break." That sentence alone burned another hole through the scandal. Because no woman in a healthy marriage speaks like that. No woman confident in her husband's innocence sleeps in a guest room. And no woman with a stable emotional state avoids him like that unless something horrific happened. Then came the press conference, the one J.D. Vance should have canceled, postponed, or handled privately. But instead, he stood behind the podium hours after the leak, acting like nothing in his life was burning. Reporters asked about the pregnancy rumor. J.D. ignored it. Someone shouted, "Is the child yours?" J.D. tightened his jaw, but said nothing. Another reporter asked, "Did you have an affair with Mrs. Kirk?" J.D. replied with, "Next question." That clip alone received 11 million views in an hour because people know when someone avoids a question that hard, they're dodging something more than a rumor. Meanwhile, Erika's pastor gave a sermon in Ohio that added gasoline to the inferno. He said, "Some truths reveal themselves when God decides it's time, not when humans want them buried." The congregation gasped. Someone recorded it on their phone. The video spread like wildfire. It was like every person tangentially connected to the Kirks and the Vances had decided to throw one cryptic hint into the fire and then walk away. Then things got uglier. A nurse, anonymous, no name, no face, posted a message saying she saw someone important visiting the clinic where prenatal blood tests are done. No details. No confirmation. Just enough information to make the internet foam at the mouth. People started theorizing that JD had secretly taken a DNA test. Others said the test was being done to establish paternity before the baby was born. Others insisted the White House was scrambling behind the scenes to stop the leak before it reached Congress. One TikTok with 700K likes said, "If the baby wasn't JD's, they would have said so already." Hard to argue with that. Then a government insider, again anonymous, claimed there was talk within certain departments about a potential ethics investigation. Not because of the affair itself, politicians cheat all the time apparently, but because of the possibility that JD used government resources to hide it. Travel logs, security reroutes, private meetings, everything was now being examined like fingerprints at a crime scene. And while the validity of the inside leak was questionable, the internet didn't care. People treated it like gospel. But the worst moment, the moment that shifted this from scandal to catastrophe, happened 2 days later when footage leaked from inside the Vance home. It wasn't clear who recorded it or how they got it. Maybe a staffer. Maybe a neighbor with a long-range microphone. Maybe someone who hated JD enough to risk their job. But the audio was unmistakable. Usha's voice, shaking, emotional, wrecked, saying, "Tell me the truth before they find it." And JD whispering back, "We can't talk about this here." Not. What truth? Not. There's nothing to find. Not. You're overreacting. We can't talk about this here. That sentence cracked the internet in half. One side said he meant microphones, politics, surveillance. The other side said he meant guilt. But both sides agreed on one thing. The sentence didn't sound like a man falsely accused. It sounded like a man terrified of exposure. Erika, meanwhile, continued her unsettling behavior. She appeared in a live stream interview, smiling too much, pausing too long, speaking with rehearsed calm. When asked if she was 8 weeks pregnant, she didn't deny it. She didn't blink. She just said, "I'm blessed and protected." Protected by whom? Blessed by what? Who says that unless someone powerful made a promise? People rewatched the clip 1,000 times. One comment said, "Why does she sound like someone who already got guaranteed immunity?" Another said, "She's acting like she's not the one who should be scared. That means someone else should be." And right as the internet drowned in these theories, Candace Owens returned again, this time with the most chilling comment of all. "Charlie told me 2 weeks before he died that someone close to him was betraying him. Someone with power." And that's when the nation collectively realized something. This scandal wasn't just about a pregnancy. It wasn't just about timelines. It wasn't just about grief. This was about betrayal, fear, power, and secrets someone intended to bury forever. But fate had other plans. Because in the early hours of the morning, long before news anchors woke up, long before social media caught its breath, something else leaked. Something that made everything worse. Something found in a drawer. Something Usha was never supposed to see. And the second she opened it, everything began to unravel. Something Usha was never supposed to see. And the second she opened it, everything began to unravel. Because inside that drawer, hidden under folders, schedules, policy drafts, and old campaign paperwork, was a thin yellow envelope with no label, no date, nothing except a crease down the middle like someone had opened it many times before but always made sure it was hidden again. Usha pulled it out with trembling hands, thinking maybe it was old mail or leftover campaign junk. But when she opened it, when she saw what was inside, witnesses said the sound she made wasn't a gasp, it was a collapse. A sound like someone's entire reality caved in on itself. Inside the envelope were printed messages. Not texts, not screenshots. Printed. Someone had taken the time to physically print the conversations so they couldn't be deleted, edited, or denied. Messages between two numbers. One labeled E, the other unlabeled, but the timestamps matched the same days JD had gone missing for meetings, charity events, and private briefings that never actually happened. And the worst part wasn't the messages themselves, it was the tone. Too familiar, too intimate, too warm, too wrong. Lines like, "Thank you for being here when I needed peace," and "I don't know how to face everything without you," and "Charlie doesn't understand the pressure." The dates made it worse. Some messages were from months before Charlie died, some the week before, some days after, and then one message that shattered whatever hope Usha had left. "You promised we'd figure this out together. Please don't leave me now." If there had been any remaining window to twist this as rumors or misunderstandings, those messages closed it, locked it, bolted it shut. Because no vice president's wife finds messages like that about her husband without realizing the truth she's been running from has been sitting in her house for weeks. She reportedly wiped her face, took a deep breath, and read the last page. A page with only one line. "We can't let anyone find out about the pregnancy until we know for sure." The kind of sentence that pulls the soul out of a marriage. The kind of sentence that doesn't leave space for explanations. Sources say Usha didn't cry at first. She didn't scream. She didn't faint. She just sat on the floor, holding the papers like someone holding pieces of a life they didn't know was broken. Hours passed. Staffers knocked on the door. No response. JD called her phone from the hallway. No answer. And sometime near dawn, she finally stood up, placed the papers back into the envelope, and walked out the front door with the same emptiness she walked out with days earlier. But this time it wasn't confusion. It was clarity. She got into her car alone, didn't look back, and drove off without telling anyone where she was going. Meanwhile, news outlets had caught wind of a major development inside the Vance household. They didn't know what it was, but they knew something seismic had shifted. Reporters were camping outside. Drones hovered overhead. Commentators on every network were asking why the vice president's wife was disappearing at random hours. And JD? He stood in front of cameras again, talking about America's economy, like half the country wasn't accusing him of fathering his friend's widow's baby. Then came the moment that flipped everything again. Erika requested courtroom cameras. Not closed hearings. Not private sessions. She wanted everything recorded, broadcasted, exposed. And the world didn't take it as bravery. They took it as the confidence of someone who'd been promised protection by someone powerful. People said, why would she want cameras unless she knows the truth works in her favor? Another comment said, she's acting like the baby's DNA not only isn't a threat, she's acting like someone already fixed the outcome. And then the leak that set fire to everything. A lab insider claiming a DNA preparation wasn't for the baby. It was for someone in office. No name, no confirmation. But come on, the internet isn't stupid. They put the pieces together instantly. If a DNA test wasn't being run on the baby, but on someone powerful, there was only one candidate. The vice president. Because who else would need a test? Who else was implicated? Who else had the silence, the behavior, the timeline that made sense? Things got worse when a short, grainy clip leaked, supposedly from inside a meeting room in DC. You could barely see figures, but you could hear voices. Usha's voice again, breaking. Tell me you didn't do this. Tell me this isn't your child. Then JD's voice, cold, controlled, terrified. Stop talking. There are microphones everywhere. No one cared if the clip was legal. No one cared if it was obtained ethically. The world only cared about the tone of his voice. A tone that wasn't panicked at being falsely accused. A tone that wasn't outraged at a lie. It was the tone of someone terrified of the wrong people hearing the truth.
And with the end of the second segment, I hope it downloads. I'm looking forward to the third.